Okay, we have a close-up of the vascular cambium and a tilia, and I'm just going to start with that. Here's my vascular cambium, and it has tiny little cells in there. And this is where the mitotic divisions happen for secondary growth. And if it divides to the inside, we're going to have xylem being produced. And if it divides towards the outside, we're going to have phloem. And then there's one other area, we'll actually divide that vascular cambium into two portions. Let me just write xylem and phloem real quick. But the vascular cambium itself is going to be divided into two sections. So if it's producing xylem and phloem, then that region is called the vascular cambium. For face, because it faces our vascular tissue. And then we have other areas that give rise to parenchyma cells. Those parenchyma cells are what make up our rays that connect the pith to the xylem. And inside that portion, we have the intervascular cambium. So the between the faces. In the phloem as well, what we're going to have is a series of fibers, and those fibers, just like we've seen before, are very thick-walled, so that there's hardly any space in the lumen. And in this case, they're going to kind of be patchily distributed in that phloem area. But anything that you see on the phloem side is going to be a phloem fiber, and then anything you would see on the xylem side will be a xylem fiber. But it's all sclerenchyma tissue, which is that special type of ground tissue with that very thick secondary cell wall. The other thing that you'll notice running through the phloem is a continuation of the rays into the pith area. And so the rays sometimes will still be thin, like they are in the xylem, but at other times they'll expand out to fill that space as the bark and exterior of the tree expands. So it kind of just fills it in so it doesn't get ripped apart, and you'll see a whole bunch of parenchyma cells in a very wide phloem ray. So this would be a wider ray here. Again, the ray, when it is in the phloem, is a phloem ray. When it is in the xylem, it's called a xylem ray. But it's really the same path across that trunk. And then the last thing that I want to just label here is the xylem fiber. And so these are fiber cells interspersed with the vessel elements in the tracheids. And usually they look almost like a solid cell just because they have so little lumen, very similar to the phloem rays.